Hey guys, so continuing from where I left off, I just wanted to talk about what my life was like at school. During this time when all this was going on, I would go to school and tell my two best friends, Teresa and Shauna, everything that was happening and how I wanted it to stop, but I couldn't say anything, and they were the most supportive, and I think that it's because of them that I was able to get through it and stay sane, because they didn't blame me and they encouraged me to talk about it, but they didn't force me to do anything or make me feel bad for not coming forward. They were just very supportive of my feelings, but they also saw my anxiety. I didn't realize that I was having anxiety, but I used to tell them this all the time, and now looking back, I realized what it was. I would have these little kind of panic attacks, and sometimes they would happen at home, sometimes they would happen at school, but it was like, I don't know if anyone else has ever had this happen. If you have, please comment and let me know, because I feel like I am the only person who's experienced this. I've never met anyone who else has, so it might sound a little bit crazy, but there'd be times where the teacher would be talking and everything in the room would sound different. It would be all of a sudden my ears would kind of become a little bit plugged, and then the teacher would sound like he's talking in slow motion, and everything seemed like it was going in slow motion, but also then it would be really fast. And sometimes it would happen at the same time where the teacher would sound slow, but the background noise would be fast, and then it would switch, and it would make me really crazy, feel like I was really crazy. I would just be I couldn't breathe, and it would only last for 10 seconds, but I'd start to breathe heavy and everything, and they would go away, and then I'd be like, okay, it's done. I don't know what the heck that was, but it's done. And I used to tell my mom, things are fast and slow again, and she had no idea why or what, but she would just, try and get me to calm down. Now I realize I was going through all kinds of horrible anxiety at that time, and that's why that was happening. Also at that time, I met a boy that I really, really liked, and he ended up being my first love. And I think that because I could put my focus on him, I became a little bit obsessed with him, but because I could put my focus on him, it helped me not to dwell on the bad stuff. And I actually was able to start spending time with him to where I had enough to want to be somewhere else. And so and to tell my sister I have plans, and I wouldn't break them because I liked this boy so much. So I was starting to be around him all the time. And yeah, he was just really, really good to me, and he was a sweetheart. So that helped a lot. But one time I went over there after a long time because my sister had called, and she had said that her and my oldest sister were going to go out and get drinks with some friends, and they were going to be out late, and she wanted me to come over and help watch the boys. At this time, her husband was a heavy drinker, and she didn't always like him home alone with the kids because he drank so much. I knew that something bad would happen. Normally she was there, which I knew, things would never go further with her there. But it really scared me. And so once again, I told my mom, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And so my sister just kept begging me, and she told me that, I really should be there for her boys because, she wanted me to put them to bed, and she wanted me to, help take care of them. And she said, he wanted to play games and hang out and just chill and everything. So I told myself, I'm not gonna let anything happen this time. I'm not gonna let anything happen. And I I told myself though when I went over there that I was going to stop it and that I was going to talk to him. So when I got over there, my sister gave me wine coolers and told me that they bought them for me. He gave me some more after she left, and I actually was feeling pretty tipsy, and we were watching a movie and I fell asleep, and I woke up to him carrying me upstairs, and I was completely frozen again. He sexually assaulted me, and I remember laying there and I was on my back, so the tears were coming out like this. And I remember staring at the spot on the wall and trying to go somewhere else, just trying to think about something else. And I was just like crying inside, but I was silent. And then he stopped what he was doing and he said, "I'm not gonna have sex with you." And then he left. And so I got myself together and I didn't go over there again. But then I guess I had heard that he had been bragging to people at work that he was having an affair with his wife's sister. And everyone at work thought, it was a two-sided relationship. So he also worked with my other brother-in-law, who I absolutely adore, who's always been like a real brother to me and always made me feel safe and protected me and, really was a good brother. So he heard from someone at his job about what my brother-in-law, the one that assaulted me, was saying, and he told a girl to call me and talk to me about it. So this girl called me at my parents' house and she said, "I know what's going on. I know what's happening. And if you don't come forward and talk and tell, then I will." So I called my brother-in-law and I said, "I am done with this happening to me, and I am telling everyone, and I'm telling my sister, and I'm telling my parents, and I'm telling the elders." And he was like, "No, oh my God, you can't do that. You cannot do that. Like, neither of us will ever see those boys again. She will take them from us." And I was just crying and crying and crying. And he said, "Just tell her that I kissed you on the cheek." And he was like, she'll make our lives miserable. And, any of you that know my sister, she definitely can get some revenge if she feels like it. She's a little scary. So yeah, I was worried. And so I called her and I told her what he said to tell her. And she didn't believe me. And she was like, "There's no way that's all that happened. There's no way that's all that happened." And so next thing I know, the next day, she calls me just screaming at me and yelling at me and telling me that, I'm a liar and that he came clean and told her everything, which I have no idea what that even is. I don't know if he set me up to say that so that he could tell her something else. I don't know if he told her the truth. I honestly have no idea. But I know that she called the elders in my congregation. She was in a different congregation. He was not a Jehovah's Witness, but she was, and she went to a congregation like 20 minutes away. But she called my elders, which is not really something you usually do, but she called them and told them her side of the story, which apparently was that we were having an affair. I was sneaking behind her back, that I was just as much, involved as he was. And so when I met with the brothers to tell them everything, they kind of already had their minds made up about me. And when they asked why I didn't say no or push him away or scream, I already blamed myself for the whole entire thing. And I said, I don't know. And they said, well, it's obvious that you wanted it. And I was like, I don't know how I would want it when I felt so sick and I was crying. And then they asked me incredibly detailed questions. Like, it's sickening to think about the things that they asked me in front of my father and 3 men and me, and the details that they asked and how they made me feel. They literally made me feel like I was some kind of slut. And, they asked me if I was penetrated. They asked me if I orgasmed. They asked me if I moaned. It was absolutely horrifying. And I was bawling and saying no and saying no. And it was a couple of hours of them doing that and questioning me. And then they made me sit out of the room while they decided what they felt, if I was repentant or not. My dad was livid when they were doing this to me. My dad was so angry, and he was red in the face, and he got up in one of the elders' faces and he said, if I went to the police right now, he would go to jail. He's 22 years old. She's 16. He was like, this is illegal and this is wrong. And the brother got back in my dad's face and said, if you do that, you are giving your God a bad name, and it's a bad witness on Jehovah. And my dad said, I don't agree. Well, he kind of grabbed me and we stormed out. I didn't, but we got in the car and he said, if you want to go to the police station right now, I will take you. And I said, no, because since I blamed myself for everything, decided they were going to disfellowship me. I said I want to take my discipline and I'm just going to, take it and deal with it and, ask for God's forgiveness. And so I was crying and I just wanted to go home. So he took me home and he told my mom, and my mom was just as angry as my dad. They were so upset, but I just told them both that I felt to blame because I should have obviously made it stop, and I didn't, even though I didn't feel like I knew how. The brothers felt like there was something I could do, so there must have been. And I felt horrible that I never told my sister. I always wanted to, but I was scared to. So I blame myself big time for that. And I got very, very depressed after this. It was about 7 months that I was disfellowshipped, and the only people that talked to me were my parents and my 2 sisters living at home with me. My older sisters had moved out, so that was it. And my friends at school, because my mom knew that I had no one, she allowed me to hang out with them. Not all the time, but she did allow me to, and I know it's because of not having any friends in the congregation, and she felt that I wasn't to blame. She knew I wasn't to blame. So after that, my dad wanted me to write letters to get reinstated, where you have to just basically say how repentant you are and why, and kind of prove to them that you should be welcomed back into the congregation. So my dad was like, you're going to write one every month. Well, I waited 4 months and I wrote one, and they just kind of ripped it out of my hands and just wouldn't give me eye contact and just treated me really, really badly. And it hurt, but I was like, I'm not going to give up. So the next month I wrote another letter. I did that every month until 7 months, and they finally reinstated me after the 7th month. But every letter, it was just taking the blame. And it was not, they were basically just telling me not good enough. There were times that I felt like I didn't have anyone. I mean, I did have my friends at school, but I was very, very low. And looking back, I just can't believe that they think that that is okay. Whether, someone does something wrong or not, disfellowshipping is just, it's a harsh thing. So anyways, after that, I got reinstated after 7 months. My sister didn't talk to me for a year. But after a year, she called me, or she saw me at my parents' house, I don't remember, but she told me that she forgave me and she loved me and she wanted to be close to me again. So we started to hang out, and I felt like, that was something I really wanted, was my sister to forgive me. I loved her so much, and we kind of fell right back into our pattern of our relationship. Only this time it was even more controlling, because she felt like she kind of had me under her thumb, that now she had like something to hold over me. So sorry about the abrupt ending there, but my phone ran out of memory and wouldn't take any more video, so kind of just abruptly stopped for you, so sorry about that. But I think next time I will go into more about my relationship with my sister and how that changed. And really, after everything that had happened, I think I really just wanted so badly to feel loved and forgiven, and she used that to her advantage. So there's a lot more to the story. There's a lot more that happened in the congregation, more elders meetings. So I will continue that next time. But thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good night.